Hello, true believers, and welcome back to another comic review. We're back in the modern age. We think the last review was an older Incredible Hulk 296 from the Wraith War ROM crossover event from back in the day. So be sure to check that out if you can. But today we're talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 2. As you can see the cover there by old John Romita Jr. Decent cover. Spidey's got a weird head, though. I mean, it's kind of boxy. I like his art, but that particular version of Peter's a little interesting. So written by Zeb Wells, interior art also by John Romita Jr. This is from June of 2022, titled A World Without Love, Part 2 of 5, from what I could find. You know, the cover art's nice. You could see that clearly Mary Jane's got a little tear in her eye. So they're definitely on the outs. She's got a nice little style to her, a little ripped jean action. Got herself a little purse. And Spidey's distraught, back to back. So you could tell, first issue, they're on the outs. This issue, nothing's changed. Issue starts out with a knock on Peter's door. He answers the door all enraged, thinks it's some bill collector there to get additional money from them since they're in debt up to their ears. Come to find out, it's just Norman. Norman has a job for Peter, apparently. A reference is made to a previous occasion where Peter must have asked Norman for some help. So he sort of feels obligated to return the favor. A few panels later, it's mentioned that an Amazing Spider-Man 851 could potentially be a reference for that. I don't have that issue, but if anyone knows, feel free to comment down below. You know, what did Peter do for Norman that has him in his debt? So Norman asks Peter just to trust him. He's like, dude, this is on the up and up. I just need you to trust me. Be ready at 2:30 p.m. sharp. And my people will be in contact with you with an address. So be there at 2:30. Don't fuck it up. So scene change. We're at the meeting spot apparently, and it looks like it's 2:35. So of course Peter's late. And then we see that Stanley and Normie both show up. So it seems that Norman is out looking for some office space. And Liz, who apparently are the kids' parents, needed some time to herself. And guess what? Peter's the babysitter. So Peter gets to be the babysitter this issue. So Norman drops the kids off with Peter in relatively rapid order and gets the hell out of there to go handle his business. So Peter's like, what? I'm the freaking babysitter. What are you talking about? So we get a scene change. Then we see that we're at a safe house in Harlem. Tombstone's getting dressed. His daughter Janice shows up. She actually flies in. So she seems to be some superhero-ish in some regard. She's got a purple costume, wings like a wasp, and she's able to fly around. So I don't know who this chick is, but apparently she's a superhero as well. Janice asks Tombstone about the mansion. They discuss that the attack was definitely made by the Rose. And then Janice offers to help with some retaliation. She actually offers to get her and her girls. She's going to get her girl squad on the case. Get her hoes up in this. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Janice's friends probably aren't hoes. They could be hoes, but they probably aren't. Tombstone doesn't want her involved. He suggests that she go on vacation with her boyfriend, get the hell out of here. She's all pissed about that, he thinks she's a kid. And he's like, no, it isn't that. It's like what I'm about to do, I need to change into the guy that's not quite your father. And I don't want you really seeing that. So he's about to go ape. He's about to put his game face on. And he doesn't want Janice to see him in that form. So for some reason, to get ready to go ape shit, he has to pull the caps that he's gotten on his teeth out. So there's a whole page of him in the bathroom yanking these caps off his teeth for whatever reason. So I guess he got his teeth capped so that he could be a more normal parent to Janice, and now he's going to go gangsta, so he needs to pull his caps off of his teeth. Yeah. So the scene changes. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Peter's on the phone with Norman. It seems that the babysitting went well, so we didn't really get to see what went on during the babysitting session, just that everything was fine. Peter cuts the call short. Apparently, he's itching to get out of Peter Parker mode and into Spider-Man mode, sort of clock in, clock out, so to speak. Scene change again. We're now at the Harlem docks. We see White Rabbit and Kareem, who were in last issue, working on something. It looks like they're loading uniforms into a truck, because we see one that looks to be like a Mysterio costume, like in a box or just laying in the back. In last issue, they were trying to slang some sort of a beat up glider, so they must have a lot of old super villain equipment available to slang on the black market. So they're loading this shit up, and then Spidey comes busting in through the skylight. So he interrupts their plans here. Kareem and the White Rabbit, who are both there, mention that, hey, Spidey sort of saved us from that explosion, which happened last issue. Maybe we shouldn't just initially kill the guy that just saved our life. So this leads to them just getting into a conversation. Spidey wants to know where Tombstone is, and they aren't giving it up. Eventually, White Rabbit does drop an address, and then it's hinted to that this may be sort of a planned thing. They sort of thought Spidey would show up, and let's just go ahead and give him this address that Tombstone knows. We want him to show up there, so let's plant that. So we got a scene change again. Now we're in the Upper East Side. We see some dude named Crime Master, which is kind of a weak-ass name, returning from a meeting. It seems that he's a gun dealer. And Lonnie, a.k.a. Tombstone, also happens to be there at the same time. It looks like old Crime Master had a meeting with the Rose, and Tombstone isn't very happy about it. So Tombstone plans to make an example out of old Crime Master, and then we get a glimpse of his new shark-like choppers. All his teeth are, got fine pointy edges just like a shark. So he took them caps off. Now he's gangsta. He's out to just gnaw it up. So scene change again. Spidey looks to be arriving on the Upper East Side. As soon as he gets to the destination, he just sees Tombstone and a bunch of defeated thugs laying around. And they're kind of outside, and there's like a truck or a tractor trailer there. It looks like Tombstone has Crime Master all bound up in the back of the semi-truck. Spidey and Tombstone start to get into a fight in the back of the semi. This ends up seeming to be Tombstone's plan all along, because once he gets him inside and they're fighting for a few minutes, the door slams shut. So next thing you see is the wheels start to spin and the truck takes off. Tombstone gets the upper hand eventually on Spidey in the back of this trailer, so he's able to get him into a bear hug. He's got an amazing level of strength, and the next thing you know, he's tighter and tighter. You see a mention of Spidey's ribs beginning to crack, and then the scene changes. So you don't know what happened to Spidey. Of course, he doesn't die. Maybe he does, but I doubt it. Yeah, Tombstone's whooping his ass, cracking his ribs. So then the scene changes. Next scene is the truck is pulling up at the docks. It pulls into a bay that's opened up by White Rabbit, and then it shuts behind them. So it seems this probably was the plan all along, of a way to capture Spider-Man by getting him in the back of this vehicle, and they've done so. So that's it. It ends with a to be continued, so we have to see where this leads. Again, being part 2 of 5, I'm sure we got a little bit more details to get into, but next issue, I'm sure we'll dig into a bit more. Overall, issue was pretty good. I have no complaints about it. There are a few little funny quips by Spidey here and there that were enjoyable. Made you sort of chuckle. So the humor wasn't lost. The story seems to be progressing. Tombstone versus the Rose, with a little bit of Spidey, stuck in the middle. all while dealing with this subplot of Peter's history. So it's fine. It's good for a comic book. I definitely would give it a thumbs up. So that's it for now. Until next time, if you're at the store, pick up ASM 1 and 2. They're both good so far. We'll see if this trend continues. Peace.